what I want you to do, because this is going to be a podcast, go ahead and do the intro for that for us, and
Okay, here we
see
go.
if you remember how to do that. Do you remember how to do one?
Maybe. Well,
Nope.
in three,
He doesn't
two,
remember.
here.
If you're listening on podcast, be sure to tune in to our YouTube channel on YouTube at Wild and Weird WV.
Welcome to Wild and Weird Radio, a Wild and Weird West Virginia podcast. Welcome back to Wild and Weird Radio, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys that tune in with us week in, week out, and even in our absence, who have stuck by and listened to us out there in audio land. All you night shifters, everybody who's hanging out with us, we very much appreciate you. This episode is going to be a callback. We are stepping back into a series that we haven't been engaged with for quite some time, mostly due to all the research we've been conducting. Hang out with us tonight as we take a step back into Fallen Worlds.
Yeah, there's going to be actually some little pre-made clips here that explain exactly what's going on. You saw a little bit of the trailer, you guys who watched the trailer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and are the notes still here, or have they disappeared too? I don't know. How to look? Oh, they're here. They're here. Look at that.
Notes are here.
All right.
Yeah,
So
right there.
all right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that intro trailer for us, and we're going to go after the intro trailer right into the next part. Earth, home to approximately 8 billion people today. It's taken countless thousands of years to achieve feats that our ancestors would deem worthy of the gods. But what would be left of these wonders if a planetary catastrophe occurred? Earth exists in a cosmic shooting gallery. As of today, there are 3,700 near-Earth asteroids. New ones are discovered daily. Most are small and harmless, but there are several that are far more dangerous. And for every one we know about, there are countless others that we won't see coming. This isn't speculation. This has happened before. Earth is riddled with craters. We're not special. We just choose to ignore it. But it will happen again. After the impact, the air is set on fire as the blast wave races around the world, creating firestorms and massive tsunamis. Cities are wiped away. The sun is cloaked in a massive amount of debris and water vapors. Life as we know it is gone. If there were survivors, they would crawl through the debris and inherit a crumbling world, one they couldn't understand. The ones who did survive would go on to create a new civilization. But would they remember where they came from? Moreover, what would be left over time? Would there be any proof that there ever was a technological civilization on Earth? Would anyone even know we were here? Could such a thing have already happened in our distant past? And are there any ways to prove it? Let's discuss that for a little bit.
Well, when we look back in history, there's quite a bit that is pretty terrifying.
Correct.
You know, specifically when we look at Earth and we look at the time periods between cataclysms, and then we look at where we're positioned today. We are overdue. So it can cause some anxiety, it can cause some stress, and we get that. We understand that. But this episode is all about exploring the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Exploring where we could have been a million years ago.
Yeah, possibly. And maybe exploring how we can prove that in the future, right?
Absolutely. Because we do know that even stone and steel fade away after a time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have a cataclysm involved.
Right. And, there was that talk of that cataclysm, as you recall, the Younger Dryas event, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you guys know what that is, I'm assuming, and most people do know what that is, correct? Because if you don't, there's a clip to explain that as well. And, I worked on those clips. So we're going to play those clips regardless, is what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter if you know. So, you know. But yeah, we're talking about the Younger Dryas event. So for those who don't know what that is, here's a really good little briefer on it. And then we're going to go into some actual discussions on, is this what happened? Because there's a lot of people who think it's not real, but there's some new evidence, right?
There is. We have supporting evidence. There was evidence, allegedly evidence to the contrary, of a Younger Dryas event. And there was quite the attempt of some sort of a cover up from one particular website. However, there has been a series of new discoveries.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's go over that video and the little briefer, and then we're going to show some stuff. Go ahead and put us on the presentation mode again. Let me know when we're there.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. 12,800 years ago, glacial ice sheets covered most of North America and Europe. The glacial maximum was reached. Temperatures were slowly rising. Megafauna were plentiful. Sea levels were 400 feet lower than they are today. Early humans had entered into the prehistoric agricultural phase. But something happened without warning. Temperatures suddenly dropped 10 degrees in a period of 10 years, throwing the world back into the Ice Age again. This is known as the Younger Dryas event. The records show the Younger Dryas lasted 1,200 years and ended with a rapid global temperature rise of 10 to 15 degrees. Human populations suffered. The Clovis culture disappeared, and 75% of the 120 species of North American megafauna went extinct. Something catastrophic had occurred. In 2007, Richard Firestone and a group of scientists proposed a theory to explain the event. They suggested a massive impact event took place. The Earth was hit by something and set off a nuclear winter-like effect. More scientists working for years began to piece together the puzzle. Data would show a telltale sign that the world literally burned around 12,800 years ago, and humanity almost went extinct. Notable indicator in this is the black layer identified globally. It corresponds to the same date as this event. This layer contains platinum and microspherules and has been found in regions such as North America, Greenland, Russia, Netherlands, Lithuania, Belgium, and the French-Italian borders. The presence of platinum is relevant here because it is typically associated with meteoric origin. Further evidence would suggest that 10% of the biomass of Earth was incinerated. There's evidence of melt glass finds in Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Syria. Melt glass occurs when sand is heated to between 1700 and 2200 Celsius, 3092 to 3992 degrees Fahrenheit. Most famous examples of this are Libyan desert glass, tektites, and of course, our own creation, the radioactive type from the first atomic bomb test in 1945. Microspherules dating to the Younger Dryas have been discovered at 18 sites across 9 countries. These samples contain impact proxies such as nanodiamonds, melt glass, and iridium. Comparable spherules have now been identified at 17 other locations worldwide, spanning 4 continents and roughly 30 million square miles. If we needed more proof, there's even meteoric debris recovered from megafaunal tusks dating to roughly 13,000 years ago. This would seem to be a literal smoking gun, but science disagrees because there is lack of one very important piece of evidence: a subglacial crater. In 2015, the discovery of the Hiawatha crater off Greenland provided a promising final piece of evidence. The crater was thought to have been formed after the creation of Greenland's ice sheet, which would make it roughly 13,000 years old. However, in 2022, further findings were said to have ruled this out, with samples taken from the area, which were much older, 54 million years old to be exact. And with that, the Younger Dryas impact theory entered the realms of pseudoscience. As mainstream academia scoffed at the notion that such a planetary catastrophe could have been responsible for the Younger Dryas event. And this is where we are, at least that's where we were at the beginning of, last year, right? 2024.
Yeah.
Roughly, it was like around 2024, where, because now they're kind of saying, well, we think we can possibly explain a little bit about that. We might have new evidence, right? New data.
Correct.
So I'm going to show that black layer because that's one of the cool things, I think. The black layer is this right here. So you see that strip that's going straight through the middle there, right? So that strip that's going through the middle right there, it's got some stuff in it that shouldn't be there. Isn't that the consensus?
Well, it's not that it necessarily shouldn't be there, but it would only be there in an if this then scenario.
Mm-hmm. And what's that if then this scenario, Joe?
A massive ash plume that essentially covered the entire globe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And
because this black layer, while it is observant here, you can see it in this state. You can also dig through the glaciers and find the black layer in the glaciers.
Well, the black layer is pretty much everywhere. And if you dig down to that particular level is what it comes down to. But, they're still saying, this didn't happen. This didn't happen because we don't have a crater. We don't have that smoking gun. That's the problem. And, the funny thing is we did see the decline of entire megafauna, right? The Clovis people, the culture just pretty much, if it didn't vanish, then it got absorbed by others. But what's amazing about that, I think, and we touched on this before, and I don't know that, you hear too many people talk about this, but the difference in lithics technology, that's one of the more impressive parts to that I think anyway.
Well, you see a advancement followed by advancement followed by advancement, and then suddenly
this is
back to archaic.
This right here is our is the Clovis. So this is their particular point. It's Clovis point. Mm-hmm. You see how that fluting? I can tell you right now, this is a very advanced technique to do. And if you do it wrong, you're breaking this thing. I've broken a few. I should know this. It's very hard to do this. There's this particular little jig type mechanism you've got to make to do this. It's advanced lithics. This is advanced stonework. Now, what's really amazing about that is that, following this event, because here's your chart, right? So your Clovis, 11,600, right there, 60, so 6,000 BC, 11,000, right? The next is archaic. So you would think that by Clovis, I just showed you what the Clovis point looked like. So you'd think by archaic and woodland that we get these just amazing technologies that this would have progressed and we would have these incredible points. That is not the case. What is the case is that we get something that looks like, let's see, we go from this, go from that to this. And this is what we see here a lot. This is your typical Adena.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now yours is after they've, kind of recouped it.
Yeah, they started to refine a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But you see what you,
because this is Hopewell.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And in Hopewell is right here, 200 to 500 AD. So it literally took them that many years, guys, to come back up to a level that is reminiscent of what the Clovis culture had at the time, right?
Right. Yeah,
So
and you're still not seeing. You're seeing some.
Yep.
Some little cut notches put in to fix points in.
Right.
But you're not seeing the fluting.
Right. And to be fair,
channel in the middle.
To be fair, as some have said, and some of the archaeologists will point out, that fluting is there because it's a spear. It's more of a spear. They were going after these big megafaunal, right? So we're doing that, and they basically say, well, they didn't need that for the little arrowheads. The technology changed. That's not the point. The point is that the actual points themselves look archaic right after this event.
Right.
And that is something that we would see with someone trying to, for example, very quickly make something for survival, number one, but also because, they're trying to teach it. They're trying to remember it. They're trying to learn it. The masters aren't there to teach it.
And not just that, the materials changed.
The materials changed. Yeah. Right.
You had a mass migration and movement of survivors.
Yeah.
Into regions where they weren't working the same kind of material. They were having to learn how to work a new material that was, in some cases, much harder, and in other cases, much more brittle.
Right. Exactly. But one of the weirder parts about that black layer map, Bud, is the fact that there was some research done, and let's see, this is from the big Elios, the mammoth. Yeah, the mammoth test. They actually found this mammoth that was covered in this black layer mass. And let me see if I find a picture of that for you. It's right. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Broken spear points, scrapers, knives, and other hunting tools were found beside her. Both back legs were cut off, one lying extra and the other a short distance away in a fire pit. A broken spear straightening tool was found nearby, lying in a mammoth footprint as if it had been trampled by Eloise before her demise. Eloise. The black mat was draped over Eloise and other objects at the site. Clearly, butchering of Eloise was suddenly halted by the sudden catastrophic event that must have produced the black mat.
Yeah, that's a story locked in stone right there. And yet, that's not enough evidence for these people. They don't believe it. It didn't happen. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Well, based on that, and based on that map from some of this research talking about the geoarchaeological sites for those 97, 54, 57 of those being in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing because talking about Clovis culture on this data map they have, which actually is a scientific study, most of this is in the Midwest or northern Midwest where a lot of these artifacts have been found, which is pretty interesting alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but as you see, it's literally worldwide, right? What you saw there, I believe that is from, like you said, the site out west. Let me find the map for that. Let me find that map for you, David. Here it is.
Cuisinart, when they were in geology program, the theory in school is that the black layer in North America was the super volcano in Yellowstone.
That's interesting. But the problem is, it's not just in North America.
Yeah.
And it's all the same time period.
Oh no, there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
Because as they went on to find out about the black layer, it's not just material of organic origin, right? Let's go to clip YD, new evidence. We're going to go to new evidence.
All right. So one of the obvious arguments against the Younger Dryas is the apparent lack of craters, which Ron discussed a moment ago. As of now, this is according to a quote from this article. As of now, we don't have a crater or craters, said Christopher Moore, an archaeologist at the University of South Carolina and the author of the study. Computer simulations have shown that a comet could explode before reaching the ground, creating a shock wave capable of a widespread impacts without leaving a distinct crater in the planet's geology. According to Moore, minerals and artifacts found in the soil strata from the Younger Dryas are proxies of a comet strike. Findings are not direct evidence, but they do tell a story. This is supported by ice cores from Greenland, in which the study was found elevated levels of combustion aerosols that indicate a massive prehistoric fire that occurred at the start of the Younger Dryas. Supporting Moore's argument that traces of platinum and sites across Syria and South Carolina, a rare metal but abundant in comets, and microscopic balls of iron called microspherules at various locations across the globe, suggesting that some ancient event transported melted iron on a global scale.
Mm-hmm. I got some images of those for you. Here you go. And what's interesting about these microspherules, if you look really close at those, you guys see that, right? You see the makeup, and we see that they are iron. But look at the pitting on some of these, which means that they little microparticles bounced into these things as well,
right?
During the collisions. So this is collisions with collisions.
Who would you say? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Dave.
What would you say? So when this impact happened, maybe it was above. Actually, didn't hit the ground, but above, like atmospheric impact.
Right.
Say it broke up enough particles. When I say particles, I mean like the size of a house.
Right.
Enough particles that it's hitting different areas. Like one in the U.S., which I don't know if I'm allowed to mention Graham Hancock's name, but his theory.
Yeah, we can mention Graham Hancock's name. I don't really care because he has done a lot of work on this. He's been ridiculed by people because, again, he's over the target. He goes some places that he probably speculates a lot more than he should, but it doesn't matter. The point is, you can't deny the data like these people want us to do. There is data, and what you're saying, David, is right here. This what I just put up there.
Yeah,
this is the new evidence of what you just said. It's more like it was an air burst. That's what they're thinking now, because what you're seeing here is the downward force in this quartz. So that quartz was literally, it's shock quartz is what it is. So they're kind of proving that something caused that. And there's
explain what shock quartz is for everybody who doesn't know.
Okay, so shock quartz basically is when you have a massive amount of force that takes place over top of an area, right? So you can also have it in bedrock, and I've actually got some around here somewhere, but it's the amount of force from top that's coming down. It's hitting this thing, and it's causing this massive percussive event within it. So you're getting the grains to literally split inside of the quartz. It's changing. It's kind of changing the strata inside. This happens over massive periods or areas, not just one little piece of rock. This is fields. So there was something there. It's on the geological record. And the only way you're going to get that's with, there's two ways.
There's two ways to get it. And like you said, there's definitely two ways to get it. But looking at shock quartz, another thing to look at is the desert glass.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. There's two ways to get it, right?
It's indicative of an air burst which just floods the entire surface level with
Concussion.
astronomical levels of heat.
It's concussion. It's a downward force, and that's what's literally causing those, those fractures and cracks deep
Heat
within those.
and pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sudden
exactly.
heat and pressure in this case.
Oh yeah, darn near instantaneous. And we're talking about enough heat. We're talking like the sun. Okay, I mean that's how much heat we're talking about.
Yeah.
There was actually a quote. It's one of these I was reading, and I don't know where it's at now, but the amount of heat was just absolutely insane. They estimate that the explosion of this thing, it was, I want to say it was several hundred times all the nuclear weapons on Earth. That you can't comprehend that. I mean, the amount of devastation, and like Dave said, not a central event. We're talking about something that explodes right as it's coming in, bare burst, and then pieces just trail out, and those pieces bombard the Earth in other places.
But what it's telling me, what that just told me, what that quote said, is there's a chance.
Oh, there's more than a chance.
All of the weapons on planet Earth could explode, and a handful could survive.
I think one of the best examples of this whole airburst thing too. You have to excuse me. I'm having a little bit of brain drain right now because of, as you guys know, for a couple of reasons. But like in North America, the ice dam that Graham Hancock talks about in his books.
Right.
And I believe it's in Minnesota is where it's at for the national park up there. My mind's blanking, drawn. If you guys recall right now.
Yeah, what's
But,
basically happening is this thing didn't slam into land, right? That's what we're all trying to say here. It did not slam into land.
Yeah.
It slammed into a massive ice sheet. Well, what happens when a massive ice sheet gets slammed into, guys, by something as hot as the sun?
Yeah. It turns into vapor real quick. And that produces its own concussive force. And then when the vapor condenses, we're now having storms and flooding everywhere.
Oh yeah, the whole Earth is just thrown out off kilter, man. Like everything changes, and that's literally what it shows. We can see it here, right? So we see the drop, massive temperature drops taking place here. That's because the clouds are covering up. And what happens after the clouds? After a while, it builds up, right? So it starts getting warmer, which is exactly what happens in nuclear winter. That's what it's called. That's what we used to call it. By the way, did you know when I was doing the research, they now call it impact winter? I just wanted to let you know that. I thought that was interesting. We changed the name. Makes it feel safer or something. I don't know. It really doesn't, because it's still the same thing. There's a bunch of crap in the air, and the crap stayed up there for 1,200 years. It isn't like something hit and then everything was better in, a few years or 100 years. It's 1,200 years. For 1,200 years, these people endured this. Now, this is a testament to humanity, by the way.
Yeah.
This isn't to scare people. I know someone said, I'd like to watch it, but it's too scary. No, it's not scary. This is fact, and it should really, really inspire you, because the fact that you're here is because your ancestors did this. And the most amazing thing is, man, yeah, there are people who could still do this, because survivors, man, they do what they got to do, and they got to come up with these new innovations, like you saw with the archaic points.
Yeah.
Someone remembered what an arrowhead looked like, and they knew kind of how it was made, and they're like, this is how we're going to do it. So they did, and they started, reproducing that. And then that innovation led to the next innovation. What's really funny about this, guys, the really funny part about this is that when this happens, this whole little era of this 1,200 years of chaos and confusion.
Tight, I got to bring us back to.
No, you're fine. You can show that right there. We're gonna keep it up there forever. When this happens, for this 1,200 years, it's at the end of this, in the middle of this, right here, somewhere in the middle, we started figuring out, you know what? We need to start agriculture, like serious agriculture. This gave birth to humanity. Like, basically, it gave birth to civilization, human civilization as we know it today. That's what this did. So that's interesting to me, because some of the legends say others taught us some of those little tricks that got us out, right?
That's right.
So, go ahead, David.
One of the things that would probably keep our ancestors up at night. It certainly would keep me up at night if I saw this. Is is how long did they see this thing approaching from space? Because as you know, some of the comets and some of the things we have coming, like 3I Atlas and some of those that are coming, we're going to be able to see those in daylight to a degree, especially Apophis. So if
Yeah.
this thing's that massive compared to Apophis, this
Yeah.
thing was in the sky for quite a while.
Yeah, it was
They knew
bigger.
it was coming.
It was
Well,
bigger.
you always, in a lot of these cultures, you have a story of the serpent in the sky.
Right. And now it's time to load in the second half of this this thing where it gets very interesting, and that's what we're getting ready to do. So let me go ahead, and we're going to start talking about what you just said, old buddy, and we're going to go into
Yep.
some of these legends, because this is, I believe, people are like, no, we can't listen to legends. Yeah, we can. Legends are important. Legends are extremely important, in my opinion, and I think that that's where a lot of our proof is. But it also, if it's not where our proof is, it gives us a point of reference to where we can point the tools maybe at some point when we get the opportunity to look for that proof. And we're going to talk about that too, because there's been some really amazing new technologies that have been developed, and it's right out of Star Trek. I'm not even kidding you. And
Yeah.
I think that there's a chance that we maybe, just maybe, might be able to crack this stuff at some point in the future, and it's going to lead somewhere.
That's right, Juliana. Legends are the descendants of oral history.
That's right. And let me copy this one. I'm going to put this in. I got you a couple of lists here, Joe. I'm trying to fight with the notes app. Okay, we got it. Legends catastrophe. There we go. It's in the notes.
Got it.
Got them. You can go ahead and put us back up on here. I don't have anything else to present right now.
Oh, okay. I thought you had another media.
I got it. I got some. Well, you just go ahead and do it. You're fine. I'll throw some up as you're talking.
Guys, West Virginia Bigfoot Project took the words right out of my mouth in the comments. He said every myth has a basis in reality, and that's very true.
Why are we not seeing their things? Hang on a second. Something's not right here. Where? Here you go, guys. Sorry about that. Now we can see your stuff up there.
So, back to the legends of catastrophes and whatnot. Ron's got us a little note pulled up here. I'm going to read it off for you guys. The book of Genesis, God sends a flood to destroy the wicked humanity, instructing Noah to build the ark to save his family and pairs of all animals. The biblical account is similar to earlier Mesopotamian flood myths, such as the Epic of Gilgamesh. Zoroastrianism from Persia is the sacred text of the Vividad. The deity, Aurora Mazda, warns King Yima of an impending world-cleansing flood. Sound familiar? He instructs Yima to build an enclosure, the Vara, to preserve the finest humans and pairs of every animals and all the seeds. The ancient Greeks, the Hindus, the Manu, the Masta Avatar have all these ancient flood myths describing a cataclysmic deluge that cleansed humanity. Hindu folklore features the Manu, the first man, who is warned of a great flood by a fish that guides his boat to safety on a mountain. And then you've got Prometheus, who builds an ark to survive a flood, and then Zeus destroyed humanity. And then in the Hawaiian mythology, the hero Nu'u creates a large canoe with a house to save his family and animals from a world-covering flood. Chinese mythology, the legend of Fuhi's family involved a crab and a bird, describing their escape from a great flood that wiped out everyone else on Earth. Norse mythology, Odin and hys brothers killed the giant Ymir, whose blood creates a flood that drowns the world. Through a giant and his family, they escape the ark, or in an ark. In Mesoamerica, the Aztec, after the destruction of the world by a flood, the Tezcatlipoca warns of a man named Coxox and his wife Zoxaquatl to survive in a small boat. In the Hopi and other Puebloan people, they hold traditions of a massive flood that drove humanity to the highest mountaintops. Some accounts describe a deity who created the different languages of the peoples after the flood waters rescinded. Sound like Babel, anyone?
Yep.
The Ojibwe When the world is flooded by the great serpent, the cultural hero, Wena Bozhozo or Nanabozo, builds a raft for himself and the animals. After weeks on the water, he asks the animals to retrieve the mud from a submerged old world. A muskrat succeeds, and Wanabozo uses the mud to create a new earth on the back of a snapping turtle. The serpent symbolism is another interesting clue, and then it all points into this thing moving across the sky. The vulture stone of Gobekli Tepe shows a reign of such serpents, for example. Could such a catastrophe, such as the Younger Dryas, have been the root for these legends? Atlantis, think about it, is sank. This is a civilization that was completely submerged by water through a massive deluge, potentially. Then we can bring this all the way up to the Leonese, a legendary land of the British Isles that was said to have been engulfed by the ocean. There are far more, and all science agrees there are simply fabrications and myths.
Yep. All fabrications and myths. Nothing to see here, folks.
But they exist throughout all these cultures.
Right.
Every culture.
Now, what's important about that, Joe?
Well, one of the things that's important about this is that every culture, regardless of your faith or creed, there's room for this. Just point blank. There's, if you have issues viewing a certain worldview or religious aspects as canonical because, it's faith-based, maybe just look at the geological structure of our planet. We have scars that point to the fact that something happened. We have stories around the entire planet telling of a similar, if not same event, over and over and over.
Well, we absolutely do. And, the evidence is there. We brought up Göbekli Tepe, 1963 anthropologists, University of Chicago and University of Istanbul surveyed the ruins atop of the hills in southern Turkey. Now, we know that's Göbekli Tepe. The conclusion was that the broken limestone slabs and mounds were nothing more than Byzantine cemeteries, and they were insignificant. They didn't look anymore until later. So nearly 30 years later? It took 30 years, yeah, for German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt to put forth a groundbreaking assertion, and that was that Göbekli Tepe represented the world's oldest known temple. Geomagnetic scans at the site uncovered rings of limestone megalithics dating back approximately 11,600 years, predating the Stonehenge and the pyramids of Giza by 7,000 years, coming before the advent of writing by 6,000 years, and preceding the rise of agriculture by 5 centuries. It was now significant. But it was also controversial. And that's why a lot of people are just like, you know what? Let's just not even talk about that.
And a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of who controls the government in that region has a very peculiar worldview and is extremely prone to the destruction of anything that doesn't align with it.
Yeah. No, it's true. And, there seems to be, and it's not just one group, by the way, it seems to be that there's this consortium out there that wants to hide this. They don't want us to know this thing. There's something about us. And when I say us, I mean all of us, all humanity. Not the different cultures, all of humanity. So it's almost like there's this little hidden something there that they don't want us to know. There's a part of our past that needs to be just expunged, basically. And that would be how perhaps a Stone Age culture, right? Not Stone Age. I'm sorry, not Stone Age. These would have been hunter gatherers, right? Yeah, hunter gatherers would have had to been around to build Göbekli Tepe.
How? They're not even being allowed to even dig there now.
No,
they're forbidden to.
Right,
Yep.
exactly. Why are they forbidden to dig there? That's a good question. Why are we forbid? Why is history forbidden?
Well, according to them, we've learned all there is to know from it.
Right. That's literally
We've
what they said.
gleaned all
Mhm.
all that we can learn from these stones.
That's exactly what
So
they
it's
said.
time to bury them again. That's what they've done.
That's exactly what they've done. So someone doesn't want us to learn about our history. So we need to ask ourselves why that is. Why could that be, guys? Let's start speculating a little bit. I want to hear some people out there in the audience too. I don't want to just be talking about all this stuff. Why would we want to hide our lineage? Anyone?
Well, there's a few reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, it very very could be possibly one of 3 to 4 different things.
Oh, there's multiple things it could be.
Yeah.
But the idea is we got to think about these things, right? Göbekli Tepe gives us a point of reference. It is an anomaly in the human, I guess, the human timeline, because it was built by people who shouldn't have been able to build it. Yet there it is, and there are all these others. We haven't even touched on some of these, so-called out of place artifacts.
Oh yeah, Baghdad Battery and
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it also brings into question agriculture. I mean, before they found that, they thought agricultural hunter gatherers and agricultural, basically, it came much, basically, sooner than what they thought it would. And then they found this and like, well, if they can build this, then agriculture. Obviously, they actually had civilization, so there's
They had
agriculture there.
civilization. Yeah, you had civilization. You had to have tool making, because I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried to carve stone before. I have. It's hard, literally, and doing it to the extent of creating what we see at Göbekli Tepe, at some of these megalithic sites around the world. How in the world did they do that? Why is that all that's there? Everyone's like, well, if it was an advanced culture, then why do they have stones? Because stones survive. That's why. Because stones survive.
stone survives, but after a cataclysm, which the views of Göbekli Tepe kind of, there's unanimous outlook that this was used to chart the sky,
Mm-hmm.
to watch for the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That might have been all they had to play with.
Yeah.
So you had to work with stone.
Exactly. I mean,
We couldn't. There weren't reeds enough for papyrus, because why waste a vital resource that you could use for bedding or stuffing for thermal regulation?
well, you can even go as far as to say that they were even more advanced than that, Joe, because you wouldn't have any
Right.
proof that they weren't.
No,
See
because
what
it
I'm
would have
saying?
been obliterated.
It would have been obliterated. And one of the crazy things is that vulture stone, literally, at this point, people believe that is it's an astronomical alignment. They believe it's showing, these the constellations, and they
Mhm.
believe that it's also telling us that a massive comet incident happened, or an asteroid impact happened.
Dave, go
I
ahead.
can't recall, Ron, but what as far as the celestial part of it, um, have they given the information on how, I guess, how advanced we would see them? Like what constellations were they showing?
They believe that this image right here, yeah,
Hmm.
there we go. And there's another stone as well. They believe that those are representations of
Yeah.
of the constellations.
This is why we need to dig.
This is exactly. No, exactly. And you can't do that in war-torn areas. You can't do that in areas where people are trying to hide the truth, because they believe they know everything. It doesn't work that way.
Because in astronomy, a lot of the positions of the stars and what they see, the constellations. I mean, it dates that time period. It actually, I guess you could say it certifies that time period
Right.
of where the position was versus where it's at now. So for this site here in Turkey now,
Yeah. Right.
you got where I'm going.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Göbekli Tepe, just throw it all aside. But I think that it's interesting to me because we went down the rabbit hole because of what you said last week. We were just kind of joking, about the asteroids and all that stuff, right? But I started thinking, well, what if something happened here, right? Like a Younger Dryas event, and what would be left?
If it were modern day,
Yeah, right now. So
if it were right now,
yeah,
and we were
and a
we were
Younger
looking
Dryas
for the modern
event,
day,
and a Younger Dryas
and
type
we had
event.
a low altitude airburst that literally set the stratosphere on fire,
Right.
sent a shockwave out hard enough to turn the desert into a sheet of glass, then you could anticipate every building over a certain height to literally be cut like butter. The structural integrity of steel with that kind of an impact buckles, and then you add in the heat that comes along with it as well. You're not going to have much to look at. And then let's just hypothetically say that it was a metal building with a metal structure building with a concrete exterior, concrete and glass, like modern works.
Mm-hmm.
The glass is gone. The building's toppled.
Mm-hmm.
The steel is extremely damaged.
Yeah.
You're now, because of the cataclysm, experiencing a long period of acid rain.
Mm-hmm.
Acid is extremely corrosive to metals. I'm a metals guy. That was my job.
Do you mean you're made of metal? Is that what you're saying? You're made of metal? You're a robot? He's a robot?
No, I'm made of jelly. But but no,
metals guy. Explain what because people are listening, not just watching.
Right. So
metal guy.
For anybody who might not know, I was a structural fabricator for the U.S. Air Force and worked with metal. I was a metal fabricator by trade and journeyman. So it acid rain and metal don't get along. Steel, iron, okay. Yeah, it's going to last for a few thousand years. You're going to be able to see it, but 12,000 years?
Right. So this is where we get into the interesting stuff, right?
Right. We start getting to the point where right now, I did a test. I did a test to prove a point to somebody. Not probably 15 years ago, where I took an old iron spike, railroad spike, and I just stuck it in a mild acid solution mixed with water.
I think we all did that test. We've all done this test as kids, right? I'm pretty sure, right?
Right. But what I did was it wasn't submerged in it, so it wasn't like in a bucket, right?
Okay.
We buried this thing in the ground about 10 inches, and I poured the solution over it, and we poured the solution over it basically every couple days. Obviously the grass is dead. Anything that was there, because it's just is an acidic mess. But then when we went back, we dug down in, and when we went to retrieve the spike, the spade went straight through it, just like it was part of the substrate. You could see it was orange, it was the rust, the iron oxide was present, but that's all it was.
Yeah. So what that basically tells us is that you're proving a point here. First to go will be the organics, right? So I made a timeline. I sat down and I actually made a timeline. And, thing is, it's not so weird for me to think about this stuff because, I made, Shattered Worlds for years. That was the set that I used to do in the 3D world and used to sell assets back when we actually modeled things. Built models, anyone who plays Fallout, those buildings, things like that. That's what I did. I did that before
Great
Fallout.
example.
Yeah, it's a great example because I think I did that before Fallout 4 ever came out. they sold very well. There were people who used them for a lot of their art projects, and I'm sure they've made it in the media. But the point being, I had to learn how materials behave because I had to simulate those materials, and I did. I made. That's why people liked it. They liked it because of the ecosystems that I made. Because things rust. Piles of material change over time. They break down.
Yep.
And one of the things that I always got asked is, well, why do you not have wood structures in your sets? Because the wood wouldn't be there. These were always, my sets were set thousands of years in the future. They weren't set, to be honest, it was probably something that was implanted in my brain. That's probably why I went through that phase of making these things. Let's be real. It happens. Let's call it what it is. Either way, I got really obsessed with trying to create these destroyed worlds, and I made a career out of it, and it was very fun. So what it did is it gave me a good insight into what would be left. Wood's gone after about 100 years, just to let you know. After 100 years, wood material, unless it's somewhere safe and protected from the environment,
it has to be buried,
buried,
and it has to be buried in a
clay
way that mineral replacement takes place. Otherwise, it turns into mush.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just not going to happen. That's why it's very rare to even find like really old, Civil War uniforms, things like that, right? Like they're out there, but it's very, very, very rare. They've been kept, they've been taken care of forever. But you're not going to find them out in the wild. You're not going to find them in the woods. All that's gone, After about 1,000 years, the skyscrapers, like you said, they're pretty much rust piles.
Yeah.
They're just big, giant rust piles. The only thing that would survive at that point is going to be clay or stone. Archaeologists still say to this day, if you want something to endure, put it on ceramic.
Oh, yeah.
Ceramic. Unless it gets, crushed by geological change, which is also possible and probable. There's a good chance someone's going to find that. And kind of
the reason
like we do.
The scientific reason for ceramic is because it's already tempered.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cured to, sometimes a couple thousand degrees, and it's going to last. It's going to be able to endure, even if it's exposed to temperatures that are incredibly high, unless it's high enough to cherry hot a piece of ceramic and turn it into magma.
Right.
Then it's still going to cool back down. It might distort a little bit of the outward appearance, but fundamentally, you're still going to be able to read whatever's written on it.
So anyway, let's go up to 100,000 years, right? So at 100,000 years, at this point, it gets really interesting because you're going to get into, I say 100,000 to like 1,000,000 years. Let's do that, because then you've got evidence of erosion. You've got evidence of, tectonics. You've got evidence of like all these world change events, glaciation, probably because it's going to be cold again, right?
Well, you got to think you've had the acid rain.
Yeah.
You've had a massive cold front, so everything froze.
Yeah.
When concrete mixtures and things like that are made stones, they're pretty absorbent. Like they soak up water, and then when you freeze that, they expand and crack. Just it's pothole season, right? So it's going to destroy the roads. It'll destroy the structures that are remaining still. And then, like you said, the glaciers.
The glaciers.
Can you explain what the glaciers do?
Well, they're going to grind everything into dirt, into dust. One of the more interesting things is when everybody likes the beach, right? Pretty much, most people do. Okay, so when you go there, after those geological processes, this thing that's everything gets grounded down. It's beach sand, pretty much. It's sand, right? So that's what we're creating. We're creating sand. So even if we've had something that survived, and I mean, like, say the tunnels, perhaps they got filled full of minerals and water, and you got these massive big fossil tubes, right? But then there's all these earth changes, so they'll get broken up, they'll get messed up. You wouldn't recognize those. There's nothing you would recognize after 1,000,000 years. That's where I'm going with this, and I want to go there. Well, I think I want to go there, because we hear people always saying, well, you know what I'm doing, because most people are always saying, well, there's no proof. There's, no one was ever here before us. John Keel used to say, the ultra-terrestrial thing. One of the models was a breakaway civilization that possibly existed.
And there's within the church, the Christian church,
Yeah.
and within Judaism, there's always been theories of a pre-Adamic world.
Yeah.
And that goes right along with what John Hill was saying.
So if we take it for not religion, and we take it for a historical context, or at least an evidence of a historical context, and we put it with all these others that are out there, these legends that are out there, over 1,200 legends of a flood, all these survivor stories that were said to do literally the same thing. Someone comes down and says, look, you take this person, you put that person in this canoe, or better yet, you go underground. You guys go underground and you stay there until this happens. How? What? Who's going to take care of us? Oh, the ant people. They'll be down there. They'll take care of you. Don't worry. It's the same stories, and they're all ours, as in the same people, because we are the descendants of those who survived.
Yeah,
that's a fact. That's not some legend. At some point, we were the ones who survived. Our ancestors were. There was a point where humanity faced a bottleneck. There's an estimate that we were down to less than 200,000 people on this planet. That's it. We were that close to extinction. But someone said, nope, not today. And 200,000 people survived and repopulated. And look where we're at, 8 billion people. So that should be something that you should really, honestly, I mean, if there's anything humans are good at, it's basically surviving. They're good at surviving.
Well, Ronnie knows, like, those that survived probably most likely hid in caves, unless they lived in a part of the world where it wasn't as bad.
Yep.
Nowadays, modern days, now we have bunkers, large bunkers. Now we have people own their own bunkers, which none of us are rich enough to probably do that. But yeah,
You're not
survival.
getting him a
Have
bunker.
a basement. Does that count?
You're not getting him a bunker, Dave. Just shut up. It ain't happening. No, I don't have a bunker. But here's the thing. For real, what you're saying is true. But we don't know that they didn't as well. See, that's the whole thing. And the
Right.
point is, we would never know unless we're now at a point where our technology has given us these incredible tools, and we're misusing them, but we have these incredible tools. And like I said at the beginning of the show, it's like some of the stuff's right out of Star Trek, Well, because if you're watching Strange New Worlds, they're using a lot of this, by the way. They're thinking outside the box, because this is also where NASA's thinking now. In the search for life or past life on Mars, they're using something called isometric data. That is basically where you're looking for these telltale signatures of minerals that shouldn't be there. So say future aliens, whatever, they're trying to, they come across us, right? They've come across the remains of Earth. Well, there's no trace of us, by the way. They don't even believe that humans were ever a thing. They didn't. That's a legend. That doesn't exist. Never heard of them. So one day, they find some of this material and it's scattered. It's like, wait a minute, why is that there? Why is this radioactive material on this one spot? That makes no sense. Why is that there? Oh,
why is there a ton of tungsten
well, we found more over here.
all over the place?
What's this?
Because realistically, if we think about it, tungsten is going to be one of those materials that are left behind from us that will never go away. So tungsten would be something.
The idea is to find these anomalous concentrations of material. Okay, so they'll know if they find those nuclear traces. Well, there's probably a society here at some point, and they probably at least developed nuclear power, or they killed themselves with it. It's one of the two. Depends on how much they find. If they found Xeon, it's a bad day. If they don't, it's okay. But what I'm saying is the isometric data is what we need to focus on. If we don't have the technology, at least I don't think we have it. If we do, they're not letting us play with it. But we need something that's going to allow us to literally scan the material.
But how contaminated is that material at this point, thanks to
Wouldn't
modern
matter.
humans?
Yeah, but it wouldn't matter. See, that's the thing. We're talking about there's no humans, right? Everybody's gone. So let's get away from Earth, because this really wasn't about Earth all along. Kind of fooled you guys. We're talking about Mars.
I knew where
And
you were going.
yeah, this is totally what we're going for, because everybody's like, oh, they may have found biological life on Mars, and I'm thinking, well, if they found biological life, now we've got to run some tests and see just if those isometric data supports the fact that there may be concentrations that should not be there by nature. Massive amounts of iron, right? It's in these pals, like you said, Joe, would indicate that there were structures. All that would remain, like we've said before, is going to be pyramids. No, basically.
No. Realistically, that's one of the few
I know.
structures
Yeah.
that would remain, just because it's geometrically sound,
It's true. It really is.
and you can't topple it.
You can't
knock
topple
it
it
over.
over. Yeah, yeah. No, you're
You
right.
can't.
It's
Yeah, the pyramid shape, the whole shape falls on itself. If it collapses, it's still pyramid shape.
yeah, exactly. Go ahead and pop some of these guys up. They're on the train now. I see Joe McMonagle's name mentioned there. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Joe McMonagle, right? So if we think about that, what he was saying
a million years ago.
Yeah, and what he was saying at the time was, well, on Earth or on the planet that these beings went to, it was better than theirs because their world was dying at the time. That's exactly what was happening on Mars.
They said that it was, our environment was
volcanic, caustic,
and violent.
Mm-hmm. And it would have been. We'd still been getting pummeled left and right by, meteors. The atmosphere wouldn't be just right. It would not be a fun place, but I guess it would be better than what happened on Mars. But the thing is, see, Mars at that point, when we were just, basically bacteria here on Earth, what was going on there was it was looked like Earth. We had rivers, we had lakes, we had an atmosphere. It was habitable. Anyone who wants to do it can literally look this up. Put it in there. Ask Google. Ask any of them. Ask any of your AI friends. I haven't done that yet, but go for it. And ask, when would Mars have hypothetically been habitable in our past? And what was happening on Earth at the exact same time?
Yeah.
Actually, it's billions. Mm-hmm. It's billions. But that's the whole point. Everyone says, oh, well, humans, we're the first because, we've evolved, blah, blah, blah. We don't have to be. There may have been a whole, how many could have possibly been here, guys? And we're not even talking about the fact of, panspermia. We're not talking about the fact that, we came from somewhere else, because a lot of those legends even say that, by the way. I know it's sci-fi, but they do. They say that we came from another place. So there's that. Where is home? Who's the aliens? See, this is the bigger problem with this, and I think that's why our history is hidden, by the way.
It could be.
I mean, it's one of the reasons, I think. There are others, but I think that's one of the reasons. Now, where does NHI fit into this?
It then brings into question, what is NHI?
Right. I told you it was a deep hole that we're going to go down, guys. And it doesn't get much deeper than this. So it's speculation. That's all it is. Don't run around saying, oh, these guys said this and that. No, we're just throwing stuff on the table.
The thing on Mars too is, depending on if what we think is possible has happened, all the areas where there were bodies of water known bodies of water, is the thing I would do is you dig probably very deeply.
Oh, yeah.
On the shores of where these bodies of water were, because where do most civilizations build near? Water. So if there are any artifacts still existing, if there was civilization there, that's most likely where it's probably going to be at.
Well, the problem with Mars is that anything that's on the surface is getting blasted. It's been blasted for millions of years. That's the problem, right? But if there's anything buried, here's the thing about Mars. It does not have plate tectonic action. It does not have tectonics, right? So it's not going to get ground up and turned into, glacier jelly or sand. It's going to be preserved down there under that, under the sands. So literally, you're right.
At least whatever was preserved whenever its core quit.
Bingo. What you just said. So
because it could have been active and it could have ground everything into the surface of Mars, and then the core quit moving.
Sure, it could have, yeah. But anything that was there, there could still be. Well,
deposits are going to be there.
Yeah, there would be. Here they would not, because every 200 million years, I think that even the ocean recycles itself on Earth. That's insane. That means that anything that was there has literally been, sent back to the mantle. It's been melted down. And then you have to remember those quotes, don't you, from the Hopi prophecies, or not the prophecy, but the Hopi creation story. I have erased even your footsteps.
Yeah.
Of your emergence. Yeah.
Byron, I think a lot of us think of dependencies of life in the perspective of humans. Yeah. Oh yeah, we very much do.
Totally.
We need oxygen. We need water.
Mm-hmm.
Life somewhere else may depend on something else.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very valid.
Very true.
Especially think about it as a silicon-based life.
Yeah.
One of the things you guys find interesting about Mars, and I'm just going to read this direct quote. This is I had to look it up before I brought it up, but
you're fact checking yourself. That's very different from most internet shows. Go ahead.
I try. So what I was going to say before I looked it up is I had seen some research fairly recent that they think Mars core may actually still be active, because for a long time they thought it was just dead.
Right.
So I quote this: NASA's InSight lander has provided significant insight into Mars' interior, revealing that the planet's core is molten. Recent studies indicate that Mars may have a solid inner core surrounded by a liquid outer core, which was previously not thought to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, historically speaking, that's where I'm coming from on that one.
Yeah.
So that could also date how far back some of this stuff may go too, once they do more studies there.
Right. And it's definitely things to think about. And we're not even, we're not even going into the possibilities of psychic existence, consciousness on this one. This was just for those who absolutely have to have flesh and blood, matter, like, because you and me both know that there's life forms that don't have to have that. And we're pretty confident that they don't necessarily have to have that, at least in in all their states of existence. But for the people who are even having a hard time to accept the fact that you or me, physical beings, could have existed that long ago, and had a technical society and been completely wiped out, and possibly helped us modern humans today arrive where we are, that's something we have to think about. Now, we can also think that those beings could have evolved all those millions of years, right? And they could have. Well, crap, think about our technology in a million years. Well, even 10,000. Let's just say they were, they were like maybe a little bit more advanced than we are today when the Younger Dryas happened. They were in their bases or whatever. Who knows? I don't know where they are. Maybe on the moon. I don't know where they're at. But let's just hypothetically play that game. It doesn't matter. Yeah, mothership. There you go. They're just out there, right? And they're like, this bad thing's going to come. It's going to wipe these people out. Man, we're not supposed to interfere, but we're going to. So for whatever reason, they did. And as we evolved our little ways down here, doing our goofy things that we do, they evolved their way, not doing goofy little things. And probably within 10,000 years, thanks to their technology, imagine what our AI would be like in 10,000 years.
Yeah.
Now we get into the what ifs that are really, really sci-fi laden, but man, they're hard to ignore. Thank you, Larry.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks, Larry.
Multiple thank yous to everybody, by the way.
You think about the civilizations that have come and gone throughout our galaxy, other galaxies, so on and so on.
Yeah, exactly. And you made a point, Dave, not long ago. You said something about, you showed an image, and it was how fast light traveled or something. Radio waves. Is that what it was? It was radio waves. How far our radio waves have gotten.
Yeah, it was a presentation we did a while back.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah. And the whole point is, that's the speed of light. That's over 186,000 miles per hour. Think about that for a second. It hasn't gone that far. So any life, unless it is some kind of a matter or just something beyond what we could even comprehend, right? Coming here, it would be very hard, is what I'm getting at. So we would have to have neighbors. And by neighbors, I mean somewhere around, what do you think? 10 light years, 20 light years out, something like that. That would be doable.
The distance between, say, the Milky Way galaxy and Andromeda, which obviously I just voted recently.
Yeah.
And
well, that's a good point.
So the Milky Way is roughly 120,000 light years across. Andromeda's over double that, around 220,000. And the distance between those two galaxies with current technology roughly it would take, there's not even really a good number. It's billions of years.
Yeah.
There's no spacecraft to reach either.
No one would even know why they were there.
Yeah. So in the time that we've been in existence on the Earth, we are the smallest possible blip. So many civilizations have come and gone in that time, most likely.
Okay, Joe, go. You're up. Read that one, Jen.
If our current civilization is wiped out, the next go around will be finding fossils and wondering what are these little boxes they have in their hands.
Actually,
cell phones
you're close.
Would have to be reinvented.
You're close. You're very close. Those little boxes would register as isotopic anomalies. So yes, you're 100% spot on. Why do all these people why are all these skeletons, these fossils that we've been digging up, why are there these weird isotopic ratios of like they got some gold in them, right? They got a little bit of platinum sometimes. We've got silica, and we've got these strange concentrations of aluminum and iron. Well, what? Why is that? Why is that there? It's on every single person almost. Every single one of these beings had that. They would think that was part of us, by the way. I just want to let you know, because it would be part of the material. Now, how wrong would we have it at that point? How wrong would they have it? So
I mean, it's the comparison of like 1950s,
now you're getting there.
40s dinosaurs.
That's it. That's what I was wanting you to go to. Yep, that's what I wanted you to go to. So good point. When we were growing up, dinosaurs looked very, very different in the books.
Yes.
Right. And then, as we've seen them progress because of archaeology and the current understandings of science, we've seen what we think they look like, and it's far different than what the toys I had growing up were.
Arthritic thumb from scrolling.
They're all swollen,
and their heads are all this way.
Yeah, they. Could you imagine what they would think we looked like?
Everyone died all of a sudden, just like this.
What did they look like? The only ones that probably wouldn't have the phones would be the ones who were actually buried, in the cemeteries, right?
Yeah, right.
So they'd be like, well, that's weird. They weren't buried. These guys were interred here. This is almost a ritualistic kind of thing. So maybe they needed this while they were alive.
It was like chemical preservation.
Yeah, they needed this material while they were alive for some reason, because when you're dead, you don't need it. So
maybe they were going to take this material and put it back into these preserved frames and reanimate.
See, and that's the way we need to be thinking about this. That's thinking outside the box. It sounds weird, but it's thinking outside the box, and you've got to do that. Yeah. So when you have these people who are like going out and they think we're going to find Martian bones, or we're going to find, fossils, skulls, or something like that, right? Maybe not. They may have been ground into nothing more than sand at this point. What we need to look for is the technology that they had.
I mean,
Might,
just for example, going back to what Byron said,
yeah,
we look at things as if it all has to be us.
right.
We anthropomorphize things. What if another life form on another planet was like an octopus?
Mm-hmm.
If you break an octopus down, the only bony structure is the beak.
Yeah.
Everything else is gelatinous and fleshy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, 100% true.
And that material goes away in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that material goes away in a heartbeat. But unless it's an octopus with some kind of magical, crazy psychic abilities, I can't, I can't get my head around superiority here. And we're looking for advanced civilizations. That's kind of what this one was for. But you're 100% right on that.
I mean, The Simpsons predicted it already.
Don't you do this. Don't you dare.
The Simpsons have the octopus tentacles and
Don't you do
big
it.
singular eye.
Yeah, big singular eye. Yeah.
They're already on it. I mean, they've predicted everything else. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then with AI today, they'll make you believe that they did.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the things that we, that will be a telltale sign of us will be the plastics. You hear people talk about microplastics all the time, stuff like that, right? It's there, but it's so much a part now that they would never. I don't think that they would ever figure out that was anything other than just a part of nature. That's just a part of the structure of the planet because it's there.
Byron says there are unknown unknowns.
And they shall remain that way.
Yep.
And I really do believe that. I think that
by force if necessary, it seems.
Yeah, right? You watch that. Yeah, we got some good news that we'll be diving into next week. Because boy, there was some stuff said, and I want to see how far it goes before we actually bring it out and start really talking about it, though.
Yeah.
And then I want Dave to let us know if we have an update coming on, the comet, right? Because we're supposed to be getting images of that. In that the story that I heard, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Actually,
Dave. Wait, Dave. Don't do that yet. Don't do that yet. Don't do that yet. Just hang on. We gotta do this right. Here, I got you a little something, Dave. Oh, actually, the audience got you something. Those supporters out there. So you got your own little
like it.
little intro there. I didn't call it,
Need to be what's up with Doomsday Dave.
I know it's going to be. Don't worry, they're going to change it every week. Yeah, it's probably going to be changed every week. It
Depends
excited.
on how much doom that I bring to the show.
Right, it does. It really does. So, anyway, do you have is there any talk about this thing at this point? We still have 7 comets. There's not 8 now, right?
There's not a whole lot of updates on it. I mean, 3i Atlas has a little bit. Like, there's a few things he's been talking about. Like Godot, if I'm saying that right, has been talking about a couple of things in there about 3i Atlas and stuff. So, there's not any.
Anything concrete.
I had mentioned emitting radio signals, which that's subjective only because that everything
emits radio signals, but it's not an actual radio signal. Is what you're trying to tell us, right?
Yeah,
it's not like somebody sitting there at the controls. Earth, can you hear me? It's not one of those kind of things, right?
Yeah, I put a thing in the private chat because I'm for some reason it's not letting me post this in the main chat, but the folks may like this. When this is actually a 3i Atlas comet tracker. So folks, take that link that I gave you guys. They can get there and actually watch it and track it in real time.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So are we going
that for me?
Yeah, go ahead and do that. So
Yeah.
Are we going to get any clear images of this thing, or is just everything going to be AI generated? That's what I want to know.
I think we'll get. I think we will get images of it. Like astrophotographers are like me. Yeah, it's possible. I think a lot of us will be able to get it, but it's going to be more on a higher level, more powerful telescopes is actually going to get the image of it.
Okay.
Um, but amateur astrophotographers like me, I'm sure I should be able to, but unfortunately, I probably won't be able to due to some
Yeah.
some health issues I'm going through for the next few
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
Recovery issues.
Yeah. Everybody send Dave some energy, some prayers, and all that stuff because he can use it. We got a lot of work to do, and I need him back in the field, so he can't be, incapacitated. That's not gonna happen.
And I don't care to tell folks. I had some surgery. I had some back surgery earlier today, so I'm sitting here and if I sound like I'm
I
slurred
can't
in my
believe
speech.
I can't believe you actually came on the show. That's my first thing because I'm just going to tell you now. I don't think that if I had surgery today, I would be sitting here on the show. But
I'm in an incredible
impressive.
I'm in an incredible amount of pain right now, but the pain meds
Wow.
kind of helping me right now quite a
It's
bit.
kind of like Geordie LaForge. Remember Geordie in the visor? But they always call. Do you remember what they always said about the visor? Like the visor caused him an incredible amount of pain. He couldn't it was terrible. And I remember somebody was like, "Do you actually deal with this all the time?" He's like, "Oh yeah, all the time." But they were going to get him where he could get his eyes back, regenerate his eyes, and he's like, "Oh," then he couldn't see all the different spectrums that he got used to, and he's like, "No, I'll keep this and go through the pain." But you know what? If I could see on all the spectrums that Geordie LaForge could see, I don't know, man. A headache might be worth that. I don't know.
Basically, he had a built-in Manus. So.
Oh, he had bigger than that. I mean, he could see all the different spectrums, like any of them, out beyond, psionics range.
That gives me ideas, like the AI glasses they have coming out.
Oh yeah,
You see where I'm
there
going?
you go. Yeah, there you go. The truth must be told, no matter the amount of pain. Well, I mean, Dave probably disagrees with you on that, but.
Jordan Booker says, "Don't worry, Dave. The impending meteor will take care of all of our pain."
Oh,
it'd be a quick burn.
Dave's pain meds, wild turkey.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
We'll take care of him for you, Byron.
That's funny.
The wild turkey, and I hear you there. I mean, maybe a nice touch, a little bit of a bourbon. But, hey,
that's bourbon's too refined. Tequila.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, this is so anyway, we knew it was going to be a dark chat. All right, we knew this was going to be a dark episode because we said it last week. I was like, you know what, Dave brought that up. Now's the time.
And I didn't talk a lot because it was going to get darker.
Right, I'm keeping
Mr. Doom.
I held a lot of.
Oh, he is. He's total doom, man. Anybody? I'm telling you, if you were at the presentation in Mothman, you got to see the doom straight up, and I'm still trying to figure out, if that really happened, but it did, and I've got it on. It's recorded. So maybe one day it'll show up and we can all laugh about it, and maybe we'll show it on here. That'd be kind of fun. Do it as a live kind of thing. Let you guys watch that because it's priceless. It's priceless to hear him kind of go into doom mode in front of an audience. But yeah, but it's fun. We haven't changed. Humanity will, as far as it goes. I'm going to throw it back into Star Trek world again because there was so much that you can learn from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Especially Next Generation. When Q put humanity on trial for the very first episode, which, by the way, 2 days ago was the anniversary. I don't know if you guys caught that or not. When Q put humanity on trial, it was because they were a grievous, savage child race. And I remember when they did that little thing and he said that, I'm like, this is the best show ever. And why I said that was because this is literally, Dave, you knew me at the time. This is exactly 100% what I have been saying since, God, I don't even know, before I met you.
Well, heck, Ron, we've known each other our whole lives. We just didn't realize it.
Yeah, well, that too. But I wasn't preaching about, you know, the ills of humanity at the first time, but you know, after a while we would, obviously, in the
Maybe.
band and whatnot. You know, we did our little part. We tried to change the world. We tried to save the world. We did our thing. Now it's someone else's time to do it. And I don't think that there's any way you can do that other than just, you know, to basically talk to people.
Yeah.
And you don't talk to them as in, I know the answer.
Well, no, you have to talk to them, not at them.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You got to sit down at a table and say, come on over here, sit down. Let's have some tea. Earl Grey hot. No, you have to have some tea, and you got to sit there and you got to chill out, and you got to pass these ideas around, and you got to be okay with not agreeing on everything. And
Right.
that, my friends, is the answer. And that's part of survival. Honestly, at some point in our
key-
past, that happened.
The key to those kind of discussions is you first have to set the common ground and find the things that you can agree on.
Yep.
And then once you have a common ground and you have an understanding, then you can start to move into some of the uncomfortable territory that you know, can push boundaries here and there. But you have to be able to go back to that common place that is safe, that is grounded, that is agreed upon. Jordan says there's nothing wrong with faith in reason or faith in science. There are two wings which elevate the dove towards heaven. No, you're exactly right. I have for years said that, in my opinion, to find God, you have to merge faith and science. When you find that in the middle, that is where you're at. And Ron just explained it to me. Like, think about it if it was your cat. And that girl was like, cats.
Yeah.
Space cat.
We did have that conversation. Me and Beth had that conversation before this happened. And that's why she was laughing about it, because the girl literally brought up this weird analogy that only me and her had this conversation with about. And that's a good way to understand how non-human intelligence works. I was like, well, what did that look like? Well, you have cats, don't you? That's how it works. You listen to them, you know when they want milk, you know when they want food. They all have different little sounds that they make. Every one of those sounds means something. And when they get it right, they let you know. They run around in circles or they do something silly. Dave has cats. He knows this.
Oh, yeah.
It's communication. It's multi-species, cross-species communication. It's NHI. They are NHI. They are non-human intelligence. So when people say, there isn't any such thing as NHI, I beg to differ. We have cats. We have dolphins. We have elephants, right? Elephants are very intelligent.
I think cats are aliens, honestly.
I'm with you, Dave. They're totally aliens. They're up to something. They have a plan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a worldwide takeover coming with cats.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, I'm going to be hugely disappointed if 3 Atlas is not a UAP or UFO and it's not piloted by cats.
Right.
I want that.
Well, I want that UFO scientist's portrait that she had with the cats and the lasers.
Yeah, that was great.
That's what we need.
That's great.
But yeah, this episode we wanted to keep it a little bit more easygoing because we're a live audience right now.
Yep.
When it goes full Fallen Worlds, you guys know, because it's going to release audio and it's going to be video accompaniment, and those get dark, but they're also very informative, and they push boundaries. They cause you to question things. That's what they're designed to do, and it's interesting because we've had a lot of great conversations with people around this exact topic.
We did a serious show. You're welcome. You got it. So expect the normal nonsense next week. This one's going to be a podcast. That's why we kind of did that, just to let you guys know. So we'll be back to normal, whatever the heck next week's going to be. I got a feeling there's going to be some news though. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like there's going to be some news.
Well, there's one snippet of news that I shared, and it's from Lockheed, and we're going to show it next week because it's very pertinent.
Yeah.
There was another snippet of news that was pertinent to this episode, actually, which was pushing back
Yeah,
humanity by another 400,000 years.
that's right. They actually did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, we just keep getting older and older. It's just crazy, right? But, yeah, I think we're going to figure it out one day. But we're not going to know what it means. I think that's the best way to put it. You're going to have these people who think that they know what it means, and they think they have the answers, but they don't have the answers. None of us really have the answers. So it's okay to sit around and speculate and think about it. That's what we do. And again, we don't have to agree with any of it or all of it.
I think over the next week too, for the next show or next two shows, really, the information with the comets coming through. Obviously, we're going to have a lot more information coming out over the next couple weeks on the comets.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have some information on the comet, but we're also going to have some on the UAP topic coming up as well, I believe.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if you guys saw that. I'm waiting on it next. I don't want to do it this week. I almost scrapped this episode because of Borland stuff, but I want to wait till the next episode of Weaponized before we talk about it, because he's actually talking about the craft at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And man, if you ain't watched it, last episode of Weaponized, that's all I'm gonna say. Y'all need to go watch that. Next week we're gonna be doing a little bit more UAP stuff. We're gonna be back into the UAP world, boys and girls, because apparently you guys like that stuff. I don't know why.
It's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, probably. We'll still be talking about our rocks. Don't worry, because Dave's going to be giving us a heads up and letting us know where to look. Dave, have you managed to image anything at this point, or real quick?
Not on the comments that are coming, not yet. Only because that tonight, well, October 2nd, there's some are visible, well, by telescope.
Well, I mean,
tonight.
Obviously, right now you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
But do you have plans to image some of these?
I'm hoping to. Lisa is going to help me set up my telescope because I can't lift anything heavier than a milk jug. So, on certain nights I can. Because like this weekend, actually, we have some like folks that just like to get out and just look up, regardless of the telescope or not. It's supposed to be very dark in the weekend.
Okay.
Friday and Saturday are supposed to be nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. All right. So hopefully, we'll get some, maybe have some images by next week. I know you did get a really good image of Andromeda, right?
Yeah. I absolutely, I don't know what it is. I love that galaxy. Absolutely love it. It's fun.
Well, that's probably your home. So here's the thing. Next week, let's show that to these folks, because it's good. I've seen your processing. It's really good. You're not going to see it here, but trust me, guys, go look at Dave's work. I mean, it's amazing.
Apparently somebody has been. They said get Dave to do some synthy soundtracks for a trailer.
Well, I mean, he does. He does. If you listen to any of
one of them.
Yeah. The beginning of Wild and Weird Radio, the podcast, that's all, Dave. If you listen to any of the past 3 years of Wild and Weird Radio, while we're talking, that background music that you hear is Dave. Dave.
Swell. Yep. It's light.
Yeah.
But it's moody.
That's Dave. That's me. And that's David Deweese. That was Relics. That was our band. We made all that. We did that. We made our own music. We did everything in house. And we just like to make more work for ourselves. But now we don't.
3 hours.
Oh, well, that one take alone was 2.5 hours.
Yeah. And I've got 3 hours material right now. I'm working on to complete, and it's just how it is. It's a process like everything else.
Yeah, I know. And we have some plans for that in the future too, guys. So stay tuned. There might be some musical Wild and Weird stuff coming in the future. And
music.
There may be flutes involved. There could be.
Might be
flutes.
We've got a small arsenal now.
Possible. Could be flutes. Could be some percussion. Might even call in some NHI to come help jam. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be, but we are working on something, and hopefully we'll have that out in the future for you guys. We'll figure out some way of distribution. Yeah, some distribution plans for it, but we'll keep you up to date on all that stuff because we got so many other things that are coming up here soon. Joe, where are we going to be next?
Well, our next stop, we unfortunately had to break off from this weekend's event at Mysticon. There's some medical stuff going on in my world as well as Dave's.
No.
So we're taking this weekend off for recovery and whatnot. And then the next stop we're going to make is actually going to be at Thunder in the Mountains powwow next weekend. It's going to be a blast.
Fun. It is fun.
Anybody that can help support that powwow would be greatly appreciated. I know that the promoters that have put this together every year would also greatly appreciate it. And the way you can help with that now is by trying to come out. If you can make it out next weekend to the powwow, we'd all appreciate it.
It's great. And I mean, this is to let you all know, this is a multi-nation type powwow. So
yes,
literally everybody's invited. This is not one of those powwows that I've been to some, okay, where you're looked at a little funny. You're not, okay. Everybody, you're just one of the whole family there. This is a magical time. It does not matter what you think, what you believe. None of that. These are people, and you have a lot more in common,
right,
with everybody there. Trust me. Yeah, it's really, you'll feel it. It's incredible. It's amazing time. When the drum starts pounding, there's something there. And if you got a little bit of native blood in you, it really gets you. But even if you don't, I've seen total people just go in there who have not an inkling and just have a great time, and it changes them. They're like, well, I'm doing this again. And this is one of those because it is so inclusive. And man, they got some cool vendors.
Oh, their vendors are off the charts awesome.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we're sponsors this year, and we're helping out with it, doing our part. So come out, see the powwow next weekend. That's gonna be the next stop, and then after that, it's CryptidCon. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for listening. Remember, if you're listening to this in audio land, join us over at our YouTube, Wild and Weird WV, to catch the beautiful video accompaniment that goes along with it. There's a lot of work that's put into it over there. It's very snazzy, so you won't be disappointed when you go check it out. And remember, if you want to catch us out in the wild, your best bets for the rest of this year are going to be at Thunder in the Mountains powwow in Fayetteville, West Virginia, November the 11th and 12th. And then...
No, it's October. It's October.
Oh, yeah. October 11th to 12th. You're right. October. And then in November, you're going to be able to catch us at CryptidCon.
There you go.
So come hang out with us. We'd love to see you guys. It's always a blast getting to meet folks face to face and share stories back and forth. So till next time, everybody, stay wild and weird.